You're listening to The American Entrepreneur with Ron Morris. To learn more, visit TAEradio.com.
How would you differentiate yourself from Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak?
Steve was more the thinker about what it all meant. You know, he wanted to build companies because that gives you the money to have even bigger success, build bigger products, take the world somewhere. He wanted to be an important part of the history of computers. And I just wanted to be a great designer with skills at putting little things down together at a small level and getting more out than almost any other human could be. And Steve and I went around like this. I would design products. He would find ways to actually make money out of them, to market them.
By the way, Steve, it turns out that our guest for next hour, a guy by the name of Nolan Bushnell, just walked into the studios.
Woz, how are you?
Hey, Nolan, you know, I live in Los Gatos, California, and I always think of Atari back in Los Gatos, California, starting a whole industry, changing the world. You know, the second most important thing that ever happened in Los Gatos.
Woz, I looked at you from sort of across the road, and the stuff that you were able to bring to the Apple II quickly, whereas it took Atari a lot of extra time. You guys did just an extraordinarily good job.
Nolan was good at spotting sort of people that have this drive and motivation, like Steve Jobs, like myself, that kind of, you know, can do miracles really quickly and aren't bogged down by the big company structure. And he was really good at appreciating those kind of people.
The relationships between Atari and Apple, all you guys knew each other and traded things back and forth, it sounds like. Is that the way it was, Nolan?
Absolutely. You know, what was really fun in those days is you wanted everybody to succeed.
I really admire what Nolan says. Yeah, you wanted the whole business to succeed and take off. When it's at the start, that's how it's got to be. Everyone's got to help everyone.
I think, Nolan, you had an opportunity to become part of Apple, did you not?
The way I remember it is that you and Jobs offered me a third of Apple for $50,000. I felt that it was a conflict of interest, and this was, I would guess, 1976 was. Does that recollect with you?
No, I remember this very well. Yeah. It was probably
and
all
then,
of 76. I went over to Al Alcorn's house of Atari, and we demonstrated the Apple II. I ran it through its paces, and Steve was talking, selling these things for $50,000 to a few $100,000, and give us some stock and give us some running control of it. And we tried the same thing with Commodore, who turned us down and decided to build a cheap machine. Like I said, the real reason I think Atari turned us down was they were about to come out with the first home Pong game.
No, it was
a lot of money.
It wasn't the Pong, the home Pong game. It was the VCS. Because remember, we were doing all the work with 6502s, and we gave you guys a bunch.
That is correct.
We had these volume purchase things in place, and so it was really a big advantage. It's like the difference between $50 for a part and $20 for a part.
It's not that I want to give away money, and it's not that money's not important, but it's that I have very strong morals and ethics. I'm not going to let money take me down the wrong path and give up what's important in life for that. And doing the right thing. You know, there were five of those people that I gave a lot, $1 million worth of stock to. They were young high school kids that I met in the homebrew club. If they hadn't had the enthusiasm for what I was doing, I wouldn't have had the purpose and the motivation to do it. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more important to have motivation than ability. And these people deserve something. And why should a few people at the top get all the stock and some people that seem to be a very important part of our community? As we just started this small little company with our hopes and dreams, they get zero. Mm-hmm. That wasn't right. And then also I had a Woz plan where I sold stock just before we went public at a deal where almost everybody would get the equivalent of like a house worth of money out of it. I sold it to anybody that was in engineering or marketing at Apple because Hewlett-Packard had this Hewlett-Packard way and a lot of Hewlett-Packard philosophies, and one of them was you, the worker, are a participant in the company's success.
To hear more of the American Entrepreneur, Ron Morris, talking business, visit TAEradio.com.